something like this where you have to scribe a wall, I'll cut the piece the same diameter from the wall to the inside of the cabinet. Now, you could have a different measurement from your top to bottom. So I like to go from my shortest measurement, which is up there, which I believe was 2 5/8. So then I'll cut my piece 2 5/8. I'll cut the distance from top to bottom, or sorry, from the top to the bottom. And then what I'll do is I'll get these little blocks. If you can see up there, there's actually a small block sitting on top to keep my height correct. And then what I'll actually do is I'll shoot these little blocks onto the piece and then one to the cabinet, because on the cabinet, I'm actually gonna be shooting this filler on anyways. And I could even hide that little hole with a screw afterwards, because I like to screw my fillers on afterwards. I'll pre-drill with a small bit and then screw them on so you get a nice tight grab. So basically, yeah, I'll do that and I'll put those blocks on. And then what I'll do is you wanna get whatever thickness you have here, which is 5/8, you're gonna take that. Okay, I'm not gonna be using this piece, but I'll use another piece. I'll actually take just a block, I'll stick it on here like this, stick my pencil right in the corner, and I'll draw a line all the way to the bottom. Then I'll take that off, pull the blocks off, take it to the table saw, freehand cut, and it should pop in perfectly scribed to that wall. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take this 5/8 piece, and scribe that filler right there. So I have a pretty good consistent line coming all the way down the wall. And that should be the contour of our wall here. So what I'll do now is I'll pop these blocks off. We'll take it to the table saw and we'll do our cut. You know, I've said this before, there's probably an easier way to do this. This is how I learned. Other people have learned a different way. There's more than one way to get a job done, and that's what I've learned working over the years is everyone's got their way. Doesn't mean it's wrong. And whatever works for you and whatever gets the job done, then it's fine. And the job's getting done at the end of the day and you're doing it how you like it, then that's all that really matters. So now we're just gonna take our filler. You see the, I don't know if you can see that line going across all the way, but we're just gonna freehand cut this and pop it in and see how it goes. So what we're gonna wanna do here now is you'll actually see I left some of this line on here after cutting it on the table saw. Now I do that because I like to take the belt sander and really just get in there and get it perfect. Especially with this kind of kitchen where this is a wood stained kitchen. You really wanna get that perfect because it's not like you can just stick that in, throw some DAP down the wall and you're done. We don't want to be caulking any of this. We want perfect fits every time. Now on a white kitchen, you can freehand cut. And if you get pretty good at it, on a white kitchen, you won't even have to take this step here. You could just, you know, on a white kitchen, we'll DAP our fillers anyway. So if it's not absolutely perfect, which most of the time it is anyways, once you get pretty good at freehand cutting on the table saw there. But if you're just a newbie and you're trying this out for the first time and you're doing more of a classic kitchen, like a white or an off-white or anything like that, or if you get yourself a colored caulking for a colored kitchen, you could just practice doing your freehand cuts, popping it in, putting a little DAP down the edge. But for this, we're 100% just gonna wanna get that line close and belt sand the rest, clamp this down, and just get it as close as we can. So what we're gonna do now, that we're done belt sanding, is I actually shot this little block that we used from earlier back on, so I'm gonna use that as a cleat for up there. We'll stick this back up here. You see I got just some slight overhang on that cleat there. And we're just gonna push that in very slowly. Get ourselves in position, and then you're just gonna work your way down and that filler fit in there. Nice, tight. I just popped our fillers in. We're not shot in or anything yet. And look at that. Beautiful, beautiful tight fit. Fits right down the contour of the wall. No spaces. There we go. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna go down the filler, shoot it on, pre-gel, and screw it in. Now, if you remember from before, when we put our blocks on, I shot the blocks onto the cabinet as well. So we're gonna shoot again in that same place we shot those blocks on before. So like I said before, we're just gonna take this drill bit here, pre-drill some holes in the same areas that you shot your nails, and we're gonna put screws in, and those screws will cover up those nail holes just fine. All right, and as you can see, there's our filler. All tied in. Good to go. Perfectly contoured to our wall. And that is how you scribe a filler.